I wasn't in high school the last time Columbia University had to shut down and had to arrest everyone. I don't remember it. I have no recollection of it. And I doubt very many people out there do. There's some nostalgia for the 60s among the septuagenarians out there. But by the time I got to college in the late 70s, it was just normal. And it's been normal for 50 years, almost 50 years. Now, Joe Biden has an anti-Semitism problem. That is the topic of the title of my new Fox News column, Joe Biden's anti-Semitism problem. And the problem is that anti-Semitism has been allowed to fester at college campuses across the United States for 10 years. Now it's exploded in anti-Israel, anti-Zionism, anti-Jew hatred. And it is Passover, so many of our Jewish friends are not listening this morning. And many of them have run away from campuses because they're afraid of getting pummeled. One girl got stabbed in the eye at Yale. There have been so many anti-Semitic incidents at Columbia that I don't know that any Jew will go there for 5 years. It's absolutely out of control. The updates this morning: protesters were ordered to disperse, did not do so, and were arrested yesterday at NYU and at Yale. Other campuses have got their own encampments, quote, liberated zones. This is just the Occupy Wall Street nonsense of unwashed young people sitting around thinking they're doing something, looking for attention. Dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters were arrested at Yale, according to the Washington Post this morning. 47 students referred for disciplinary action. I hope they are expelled. Mom and Dad not going to be very happy. They're paying $60,000 a year, and you get expelled after all those college applications because you wouldn't leave because you don't even know how to draw a map of the Middle East. Maybe you should have gone to school. Dozens were arrested at NYU as well as at Yale. And the Wall Street Journal reports, the Washington Post reports that the latest protests are stretching across an array of private and public college universities, including BU and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, MIT, and, of course, Berkeley. The decision to cancel classes at Columbia, thus yielding to the protesters, has put their already beleaguered president into the danger zone of getting dumped. Wall Street Journal this morning, they got a couple of great things in the Wall Street Journal. My friend Ken Kachigan has a piece on Gavin Newsom. Whatever happened to Gavin Newsom? He was a rising star a few months ago, but bad governance and the phony factor caught up to him. You never want Ken to be upset with you. Ken is maybe America's most gifted speechwriter of the last 50 years. And he worked for Reagan, he worked for Nixon, he worked for George Duke Majan, he worked for pretty much everybody who ever needed a speech written. And now he's taking the measure of Gavin Newsom, who is not measuring up to Ken's standard. But the unsigned editorial from the Wall Street Journal this morning is titled "The Ivy League's Anti-Israel Protest Meltdown." Subhead: School officials reap what their politically monoculture faculties have sown. Anyone who thinks about concerns about anti-Semitism, that they are overblown, isn't paying attention to the scenes at elite universities, the Journal writes. Anti-Israel, anti-Semitic protests at Columbia, Yale, and elsewhere are getting uglier. And it isn't clear that the progressives in charge of these institutions are up to the job of enforcing order or of protecting Jewish students. At Columbia and New York City, pro-Palestinian demonstrators have surrounded Jewish students to push them from a protest camp dominating the campus lawn. "Attention, everyone," a voice says in a campus video. "Can I get everyone to form a human chain? We have a Zionist at the entrance of our encampment." The Zionist was a Jewish student whose friend wore a necklace with a Star of David. According to News Israel correspondent Neria Krause, the Palestinian crowd followed the order to slowly walk and take a step forward so we can push them out of the camp. That is, by the way, assault and battery. Assault is the imminent fear of an unjustified touching. Battery is the touching. Many protesters on or near campus wear masks to disguise their identities. Students have to walk through a gauntlet to get to class. The protesters carry banners calling honor to the martyrs of Palestine, and a sign pointing to a pro-Israel counter-protester is marked Al-Qassam's next targets. Al-Qassam is a military wing of Hamas. That's a call to kill Jews. On Friday, Colombia President Manouche Shafik invited police to clear the campus encampment. About 100 were arrested, but the demonstrators returned to the venue. Remember, it's Manhattan. Catch and release in Manhattan. It isn't clear that Ms. Shafik has the fortitude to handle them. In a statement on Monday, she told students that, quote, anti-Semitic language, like other language that is used to hurt and frighten people, is unacceptable, and that inappropriate action will be taken. The school moved all classes temporarily online to, quote, reset and, quote, de-escalate the rancor and to consider next steps. I don't think mom and dad are paying for online. No, I don't think so. But the protesters are winning the journal notes. They're allowed to shut down classrooms, instruction. Ms. Shafik's statement notes, there's a terrible conflict raging in the Middle East, but it doesn't include a single mention of pro-Palestinian groups as perpetrators of the campus harassment. Columbia also deactivated the university keycard of Jewish professor Shai Davidai and told him he was not permitted to enter the West Lawn on ground that his plan for a counter-protest was a safety risk. So you see that is preferring one form of speech over the other. Now, my entire Fox News column today is the one that's entitled Joe Biden's Anti-Semitism Problem, is asking where is Joe Biden's Department of Education, which has within it a vast office for civil rights, and where is his Department of Justice, which has an entire division for civil rights? Where are they? They should be helping to catalog and, if necessary, arrest everyone committing acts of unlawful discrimination under the 1964 Civil Rights Act.